to introduce you to our audience and welcome to our global conference.
Okay. Is my background okay?
2026.
Please, can you get me?
Yeah. Okay.
Is my background okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Thamfu Mabel Young is the CEO and founder of Prime Counseling Services, Cameron. She is a PhD candidate in guidance and counseling University of Bua, a seasoned counselor and trainer with 11 years experience. Her unique passion of a more dynamic African approach to counseling has driven her passion to mentoring many counseling professionals across Cameroon and state universities. As a GVB activist, she served in the crystal heated areas of Cameroon and same an excellent record with her work in the community awareness and interventions with Reach Out NGO in a period of UNFA, ICAN, and she builds peace NGOs. Um, that was a wonderful bio. You can please start your session, and the
Okay.
stage is all
Thank
yours.
you. Hi, everyone. Okay. Thank you. Um, Hi, everyone. As we heard, I'm Mabel from Boya, Cameroon. Please, can I have the slide? First slide, please. Hello? I'm talking about the art of self-care for healthy living. When we talk of self-care, we simply refer to the intentional daily practice of nurturing to be able to manage stress. These steps could be physical steps, it could be uh, mental or emotional practices to nurture one's health and to be able to manage stress and prevent burnout. The self-care practices could range from setting of healthy boundaries, self-healthy boundaries, regular exercises, proper sleep, nutrition, mindful meditations, and more. I would like us to begin with this question. Um, is self-care selfishness? That's the first question. Is self-care selfishness? And the second is luxury equal to self-care? As in, is luxury self-care? I want us to base our conversation or presentation on these premises. So we see that the impact of self-care on health is extensive, contributing to both physical, mental, and emotional well-being across various populations and contexts. In my context, I began the journey of or the study of self-care in September 2025 when I was going through a, a grieving process, and it was so intense. Then I wanted to practice self-care to improve on my mental and emotional well-being, and I realized that self-care practice in my context is very challenging. It is often seen as luxury, it is seen as selfishness, it is seen as laziness in some cases. So others see it as pride and waste of resources. So I started paying attention to emerging adults around me and to see how they practice or prioritize their health in through the practice of self-care. You hear things like, oh, Mabel, when I think of taking a day out or a date, uh, the people around me see it like that's luxury, I'm wasting resources. Let me take another simple example of self care. Maybe saying no to an invite. It could be a vigil, night vigil, and then say no simply because you want to prioritize sleep. Maybe you want to improve on your sleep. And then you hear things like you're being disrespectful if it was a family gathering, if it was a religious gathering, you're being disrespectful, you're being um, lazy for requesting sleep. So self-care practices are kind of challenging in my area. They're kind of challenging in my area. Oh, okay. Self-care, okay. Sorry, I'm having delay. Okay, self care has a huge impact on both our mental and emotional well being. Self care profoundly affects mental health, helping individuals manage psychological stress, burnout, and emotional challenges. It is vital for maintaining physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. So it cannot be overemphasized that self-care practices does improve mental and emotional well-being. It has a great impact because it elevates stress. It adds to emotional wellness. When we look at with the coming of COVID-19 pandemic, we realized that during the lockdown, self-care practices became paramount. It became important. People started considering self-care practices. And also in my context, within during the crisis, the uh, Anglophone crisis, students were displaced internally from their areas to here and or to more safer zones within the region. This had a lot of impact also on their emotional well-being, and they had to or the need for self-care practices became paramount. Um, okay, spirituality and religiosity can positively influence well-being. Well, we see cases where religious practices like mindfulness, meditation, we see that it greatly influence or promotes mental, emotional well-being. And so it is important as a counselor when working with clients when we greatly explore the area of spirituality spirituality and religiosity. Any client who is comfortable that's working with the client's spirituality and his religious beliefs, someone who has those religious norms, values, you see that this can either promote or negatively affect their well-being. But in most cases, just implementation like even studies proven that it greatly promotes mental um okay. Sorry, my slides are delaying to come. Can't. I'm sorry. This is kind of slow. Okay. A broader, we want to look at how mental well-being or self-care practices can and the society at large. It has great implications, great impact on both the individual practicing and to the society. We see that the benefits of self-care extends to broader public health and societal well-being. Heavily incorporate self-care can improve the quality of life and reduce risks factors for non-communicable diseases. So self-care interventions for women and well-being are crucial, especially given that many women and girls are disadvantaged in accessing quality health services and responsibility for their own health. Even the well, its definition of self-care to encompass health more generally, recognizing its importance beyond specific areas like sexual and reproductive health. And I'm looking at what happens to women, be it perinatal, post or prenatal, postpartum cases. Okay, in a context like mine, African woman living in Africa who is just gave birth, for example, and now spending the whole night with a child who hasn't slept, and then in the morning, it is expected of a woman to get up, do the laundry, do the dresses of the child, and then now if the baby is sleeping, she wants to take also a nap to also rest, and visitors come in. uh, it would take a very mentally healthy person to say no, I want to rest, because of fear of being labeled lazy, disrespectful, like I earlier said. Yeah. So we see that self-care practices are important. And now when the visitors eventually leave and the baby gets up, you have little or no time to even have the sleep, the rest that you needed. So it's a concept that is coming in some context it has these barriers, because you'll be like, how come my in-laws come around and I tell them that I'm resting? I equally remember my in-laws being unhappy because they left from one region to the other to visit a daughter-in-law who gave birth, and they had to wait for like 2 hours that she was resting. They did not find it funny. So we see cultural barriers. We see also some family tradition, norms, and values coming to play that hinder self-care practices. But I strongly believe that continuous sensitization and education on the importance of these practices is going to help us benefit this broader health and societal implications of self-care. Okay, there's a question here. What is the core idea behind? Okay, I think that's not for me. Okay, so we're moving to the next. What are some of the challenges um, of self-care practices? So, despite the recognized benefits, consistent engagement in self-care practices can be challenges. It can be very challenging to consistently practice self-care. And uh, for example, doing regular exercise, doing regular exercise can be challenging. It has been proven that physical exercises has a great effect on the mental, emotional health of those who practice it. And so doing this every day is usually challenging. Some get discouraged, some get because of too much workload, um, creating time out to do yoga can be very challenging. But when we look at the benefits of physical exercise, for example, we see that it promotes interventions for cognitive decline in individuals with mild cognitive impairment, improving both cognitive and psychological outcomes. So, promoting physical activity in public spaces such as parks, in high poverty neighborhoods has been shown to increase park-based physical activity levels. And in our context, such can happen. You scarcely see women in such places, except it is culturally based or organized by the community. Where, for example, during this week is a Women's Week and the International Women's Week, where women are being celebrated. So it could be possible through women organizations, community leaders, encouraged to organize such sporting activities, but this comes once in a while. So talking about it being challenging is it being consistent, doing something that is consistent, or daily physical exercises to improve mental, emotional well-being. So, beyond general physical activities, specific self care interventions have also been shown to improve outcome for chronic diseases. For patients with chronic neck pain, back pain, self care education programs can lead to long term improvement. So, we are encouraged to focus on self care practices so that it can improve on our self efficacy, self care, it can improve on our behaviors and health related qualities of life in adults. So, physical health is being improved as well through self care practices. When you practice, for example, we're talking about physical activities, physical exercises, even emotional based or mentally based exercises like um, mindfulness, meditation. It affects both, it promotes both our physical health and our emotional health. So, optimal self care, including adequate sleep, nutrition, and exercise, is crucial for professionals to reduce stress. I think we're here as women leaders, uh, self self-employed people, entrepreneurs, and due to the nature of most of our jobs, we experience burnout, stress. And so to reduce stress and to prevent burnout and improve on the overall well-being and quality of life, we can consider self-care practices. So despite all these recognized benefits of of con- of self-care practices, consistent engagement in self-care practice can be so challenging. Many society workers acknowledge the importance of self-care but struggle with its consistent implications. Due to much workload, you have less sleeping hours. Okay, it is recommended to have 7 to 9 hours of sleep, but we must admit that it's usually challenging to have this on a regular basis. Uh, Physical exercise on a regular basis to some people is quite challenging, and others meditation. Someone told me yesterday, a client said, each time I want to do meditation, it's not up to 3 minutes, I feel sleepy, I sleep off. And she had blamed that on herself, like, I'm not able to meditate well, that means I cannot get the benefits. And I was looking at it from another lens, like, okay, just the fact that you're able to sleep off is also good, because with poor mental health, sleep is usually interrupted. Okay, in what ways does praising students improve their confidence and academic performance? I don't know if this is for me, but it does, because it promotes that intrinsic motivation, that internal motivation. It boosts their self-esteem, and it encourages them that, oh, what you're doing is correct and you can do more. Okay. Self-care is a multifaceted discipline aspect of a healthy life, impacting physical health, mental well-being, and broader societal outcomes, like we have said. So, reiterating that the lack of universally agreed upon operationalization of self-care can hinder its effective teachings and modeling in educational contexts, such as social work programs. But however, embedding a self-care and wellness framework in education programs can address burnout, compassion fatigue, and traumatic stress among teachers. So, the development of psychometrically sound instruments like self-care belief and behavioral questionnaire, which considers both self-care beliefs and behavior across various life domains, is crucial for better understanding and promoting self-care. So we equally use psychological instruments. For example, mentioned here is self-care belief and behavior questionnaire. It's equally important. So in conclusion, self-care is a multifaceted and indispensable aspect of a healthy life, implicating or impacting physical health, mental well-being, and a broader societal healthy outcomes. I want to look at it, this broader societal outcomes. In the cases of women who have been internally displaced in Cameroon due to the socio-political crisis, we realized that some non-governmental organizations had child-friendly spaces and had created support group for women. And these women who were internally displaced from their origin to other regions that are safer, they were usually labeled and tagged as charity cases, people who depend on charity, and then they have the burden of either they've lost their husbands in the war, they've lost their sons, and then now they are left with the other people that have lost their properties, and then now they're left with the children or the other family members to take care of. So mentally, physically, they were going through a lot. And then with the coming of some of these non-governmental organizations and providing women and girls safe spaces, uh, self-care practices kind of came to light. And we see that it improved on their self-efficacy. And some of these women today, after a few years of implementation of these projects by the non-governmental organizations, both national and international organizations, we see that the society at large sees internally displaced persons differently. First, from the way they started carrying their own selves now, because they were able to accept the situation, mindfully accept the situation, and it improved on their emotional well-being. So we see the entire society is benefiting from self-care practices. And I think the narratives has changed. In my context, it has greatly uh, changed. So, from managing chronic diseases to preventing burnout in demanding professionals and fostering overall resilience, self-care plays a pivotal role in promoting a healthier and a more fulfilling existence. So we can't undermine the importance of self-care to the practitioner and to the society at large, as it promotes both the physical health and, in simple terms, it lowers cortisol, because when you practice self-care, cortisol levels reduces. That is the stress hormone, and then in effect keeps calmness. um from the beginning, I did ask some questions. If self-care practices selfishness, is self-care luxury? In my context, like I said, most people think that self-care is luxury. Uh, and this is because what comes to your mind when you hear of self-care, most people think that the first thing that comes to their mind this way is self-care is going for a massage, to a spa, going abroad, and with the economic situation most of us find ourselves, we see it like luxury. So self-care practice is necessarily not luxury, and luxury necessarily is not self-care practice. So in effect, I'm saying that self-care practices, self-care is different for everyone. And so to me, self-care might be go to bed early, spend time in nature, put my feet, go by the sun, the beach, put my feet on the ground, pour cold water on my face, practice yoga meditation, practice affirmation, take social media break, do gratitude journal, and self-care to you might be different. So self-care is different for everyone. Self-care is not selfishness. Self-care is necessarily not luxury. Thank you. Happy Women's Day.
That was
Dear
very
Melinda,
informative
thank
session.
you.
That was very informative session. We really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you so much. We gained a lot of knowledge from your PPT. We have a few questions from our audience. I would like to ask you one of them.
Sorry, I can't get you.
Am I audible to you?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Am I audible to you, Tamfu?
Yes, I can get you now.
Okay. That was very informative session, Tamfu. We really enjoyed your presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We have a few questions from our audience.
Okay,
We will share it to your email. You can answer there.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Please join our next session, Tamfu.
Thank you.
Bye bye.